remember, the Code of Ethics was just launched last week. So to answer some questions, and then we'll know from the administration what they will do about the concerns that are being expressed by the public about that particular video that is still trending. But I've been joined in studio by my guest, as I told you, YARBOI, ANNAN. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
It's nice to see you.
Nice coming back.
You campaigned vigorously for the NDC to win power. Yes. And so far, the party has been in power for, so it's 12 May. So 4 months going to 5 months. First, when are we going to see your green letter? Or white letter?
Which green letter?
The letter that gives you an appointment.
I'm in my office already.
Oh, you are in your office already?
Yeah.
You have been appointed already?
No, I am in my own office already.
Okay. You are satisfied with what you do?
Yes.
You prefer to stay there and continue there?
Yes.
Oh, I see. See, you are not one of those who's interested in joining government and operating?
No, I'm not.
But your skills could be crucial for the work of the administration.
It could still be at benefit to the government, yeah.
Oh, so you offer it when you are asked?
Yes, when it's needed. Why not?
I see. Well, but secondly, 120 days last week, I know there's a social contract on the table, but how do you feel about the administration you got as Ghanaians to get into office? Are they performing?
Well, let me greet your listeners and viewers as well. Yes, I think it's too short a time to actually make a pronouncement on whether a government is doing well or not.
Okay.
Because I believe that it is about...
Please pull the mic closer to you. Okay, great.
I believe it's about consistency.
Okay. Consistency.
Yeah, you can start well, but along the line, you may derail.
Okay.
And we've seen that before in the past. Well unchecked, so they went out saying, we have arrested the dollar and we've handed the keys to the IGP.
Okay.
When in fact the performance we saw was not a performance based on any real substance, but based on how we have structured the economy then and the programs we were on.
Okay.
Achieve those results. And those results are not really, do not have a broad-based foundation in the economy. And therefore, I would not want to pronounce a judgment from now. I would wish we wait for some time. And see how consistent government will be going forward.
At what point would you start? Okay, so let's say if you're doing an assessment, it's a 4-year term.
Yeah.
Within what periods would you do assessments?
I would give it a 2-year period.
2 years?
Yes.
And 2 years. Yes. You wait till 2 years to do an assessment.
Yes.
And if you're doing an assessment, what will be your focus?
Well, my focus will be how we have been able to diversify the economy.
Okay.
We have a very narrow-based economy.
Okay.
We must, in this period, and we have all the opportunity to do that within this period that we find ourselves in. This is the time much possible to speak to the people for them to understand that we need to take on some pain to diversify the economy. This is the time it is okay to explain to people and for people to accept that we cannot spend like we used to do. And this is the time to ask businesses, to stay compliant and pay taxes and all of you. The difficulties we have with in terms of liquidity and in terms of how the economy is now. So we have a lot to do in a very short period.
A lot to do in a very short period.
Exactly.
And that period, is it the 4 years, or you are saying that within 2 years?
Within 2 years, the structures, the substructures should be up, and we should see the signs of a good foundation.
And I'll come to the issue of the Cedi and inflation. But you said some very interesting things. You're saying, and I'll come to the consistency matter. That's mainly policy. But you're talking about that we have a narrow-based economy.
Yeah.
To those of us who are not economists, explain that to us. What do you mean when you say that?
Well, what I meant is that every economy is founded on revenue.
Revenue.
Yes. And these revenues you would have are peculiar to your nation.
Okay.
Based on its strength.
Okay.
In making sure, yes, tax revenues are in there, but in terms of our natural resources and what we do with agric and all that, gives an expanded base for the economy. Now, if you look at it, if you look at this economy, and that's why I kept saying that I don't understand when people say the structure of the economy, the structure of the economy.
Okay.
Now, if you go into the 1800s, we were not depending on cocoa.
Okay.
We were not depending on gold.
Okay.
If you look at our exports in the 1800s, let's say around the 1895, 1896, all the way to the 1900, you would realize that the economy was founded more, or was more on the fact that we were exporting palm kernels,
Okay.
palm oil.
Okay.
In fact, palm oil was a major export
Okay.
that we had then.
Oh.
Yes. And
So
not
palm was
cocoa.
a big deal.
Yes, it was a big deal. Bigger than gold dust.
Okay.
Right? And then if you look at our import, was more about spirit, rum. We export some cotton, and
Okay.
we equally bring in cotton as well, and finished products and all that, and so it was quite limited. You could see we were exporting monkey skins, and we were just killing monkeys those days and all that. It was a big deal back
monkey
then.
skins.
Yeah, monkey skins was a big deal back then, and that is why we need to understand where this economy had come from.
Okay. The
history of this economy, and so in 1957, when Ghana will be granted independence, at the UK Parliament, the Secretary of the Commonwealth actually said that, I think the name was Griffiths, actually said in the UK Parliament that the Ghanaian economy is so narrow, just like all the other colonies.
Okay.
And they don't expect us to survive.
Narrow.
Very narrow, because it was based on few things, and those few things that it was based on are all, the prices of which are all dependent on external factors.
Okay.
So the moment the prices crashes, then you have an issue.
Okay. Like we saw, I think was it in 2015, 2014 when the price of petroleum products crashed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So our economy looked a bit expanded when we got oil.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden we found expenditure to take almost everything out.
Okay.
So we were back to depend on gold and cocoa. Okay. Cocoa is not performing so much, although the world price is currently a bit better, stronger, and gold as well.
Okay.
Although
but in terms of production, we are not doing that well.
In terms of production, we are not doing
badly, yeah.
we are not doing well,
yeah.
and therefore you would have issues with foreign currencies.
Okay.
right? Because that's our major source of foreign currency.
Okay.
Now, you need to expand this base. That is why we have talked about the export of non-traditional goods, goods.
Okay.
But we must be properly, intentionally go after certain other commodities that we have so much strength in.
Okay.
We must go back to the palm.
Palm.
Yes. And
we still have good capacity to do it?
We have more than good capacity to do it.
Okay.
And the demand is there already.
If the demand for palm
is there already.
Okay.
It's there already. And you see the things you get out of it, the articles you get out of palm are a lot.
Okay.
You get the oil, the palm oil, you get the vegetable oil, and even the kernels can be used to produce energy. All that in the ice cream we take and all that comes from palm.
I see.
Yes. So, your butter, margarine, and all that, it's coming from palm. And so we must do well to get another product that can, it's also of a high demand, and we can do well with naturally. And we must, and that's one good thing. We must look at the information technology industry as well. We must invest in there. That is the future. And we must encourage our young people to start developing programs that will be needed. That will be the next order. Okay. And so, yes, I have seen some few things that
1 million codex program.
Exactly.
The president himself chairing an export development council, accelerated export development council.
Exactly. And
so they are all well intentioned.
Exactly.
But ultimately,
it is the consistency.
Okay.
And staying focused.
Okay.
That
also knowing what you're doing, I guess.
This. Come again.
Also knowing what you're doing, I guess.
Me personally.
No. I'm saying that it is not only about if you are consistent and focused on the wrong things.
Oh yes, you must know what you are doing.
Okay.
Yes, you must certainly. I don't think it was out of the blue that the government is saying I want to do A, B, and C.
Okay.
There should be a grand plan, and for that matter, you would have to invest in some of these things. Buying these blackboards and all that are expensive. They are expensive, but it is well intentioned. If we can do more. That is what is raking in all the monies now. It is IT. We are consuming technologies that we did not develop.
Scale.
And we are paying for it.
Into some trouble.
Well,
quite interesting.
Well,
I do.
That's an issue I can't talk about because I'm more than guilty.
You are guilty.
Oh, I'm more than guilty.
I see.
I'm a serial culprit of.
Is it the giving or the taking?
Well, for me, I think that. I understand where people are coming from, but again, I really don't think there is much. You don't know my relationship with a lot of people. I may see certain people and want to give them something, and they are saying, "Oh, dollars." Dollars is not an illegal tender. It's an international currency. You can choose to own one. We are in a free market, and so that should not be. I think the only issue is that it is an appointee,
a public officer,
and you see why sometimes some of us want to run away from all these things, because you may be spending your own money, but it will look as if you are spending state's money or something, and all that. And also, look, we do it all the time. Sometimes people do ask, sometimes they don't ask, but you feel obliged to do it, them and all that. And in fact, I'm guilty on all counts. So I am not the right person to talk
to
about
be talking
that.
about that.
Yes.
Anyway, that's why we are going to talk about it. But very interesting. But I think that the main thing you talk about, one of the things you do is you talk about, I wrote expenditure control.
Yeah.
But you said it's the right time to convince Ghanaians that we can continue to spend in the manner we have been spending over the years.
Exactly.
But governments must spend, must they not?
Yes, government must spend. There is no doubt about that. But the causes of overheating, if the economy will get overheated, it is also by government expenditure.
Okay.
I mean, if you have an elevated expenditure and you keep pushing money into the system in terms of paying for goods and services and all what have you and all that, again, you come back to having more money in the system. You are an import-dependent country, and therefore those monies will necessarily go after foreign currencies, right? Making the foreign currencies more stronger than your currency.
Okay.
And that is what we have witnessed for the past some 6 years, I would say.
Okay.
You know, when the NPP took power, they were consistent for 2017, 2018. And then by 2019, when the IMF program was done with, you saw how elevated
the expenditure
went so fast.
Okay.
So the position we were doing over 64 billion in terms of deficit, overall deficit. And so it is the consistency. How do we keep this going into the future, knowing that there will be demands in future. There will be demands on government to spend on infrastructure, on goods and services, and people who are used to getting certain contracts and supplying government, and it is no longer coming. And that is not also to say that you would have to suffocate production and all or what have you. But we should find ways that we will not have to spend foreign currency to so much that we would cause such overheating in the system and cause all the problems that comes with overheating.
That's quite an interesting one, because of course this government coming into power, the things that they inherited, road sector in very bad shape. In fact, it's not only about roads, bridges, all kinds of things in very, very bad shape. In fact, there are some problems that were even moved forward. For example, even compensation for those who suffered a flood from the spillage from the Akosombo dams were not even done. They have to now complete their resettlement, among others. And those are all things that will be funded from government expenditure. How do they do that? All these things, many other things, and still stay within this prudence bubble that keeps the city stronger and the economy.
Mind you, we have deferred our responsibility. We have deferred our responsibility towards the servicing of debt and all what have you. So whatever buffers we are creating today, the heightened, foreign assets we have today, which is around 129 billion, and all what have you, as of March, will be needed in the future to support this economy, this very economy you find ourselves in. That is why I'm saying that it is better to explain it to the people now and let them understand that, well, what you are enjoying today, you are enjoying this because we are more prudent, right? And we need to stay prudent going forward. If not, and we erode these buffers, we will put ourselves back into the situations that we so much disliked and actually kicked against. And we have no choice but to go out there and make sure that we are speaking truth and telling the people what it is that we are doing that is getting us these results.
Okay. You're saying that there's a good opportunity for the government to actively communicate
Exactly.
what it is that is causing this. And you're saying the main cause is prudence.
Yeah.
There is a need for them to make the public understand that this prudence must continue.
Yes.
If
Clearly.
the gains have to be consistent.
Clearly, government is not spending.
Okay.
So if you look at our demand deposits, it has stabilized and it is dropping.
Okay.
Right? So people do not have so much to go after dollars.
Okay.
If you look at our imports,
Okay.
they are dropping. It's stabilized and it is dropping from 8.5 billion. Now it's getting to 8.2 billion, I think, in March and all that.
Okay.
If we keep to this and we are able to go about our business and all that, I mean, I think we should manage it into the future. But people will not understand it over a period of time.
I see.
And that is why we need to communicate well. That look, if you, it tastes good if the dollar is at this point. You see, and to have the benefits of what is happening now, we have no choice but to stay consistent. Why? Because the prices on our shelves will not change. Because most of these prices on our shelves are prices based on a higher exchange rate.
Okay.
It will take time for us to take off those goods on our shelves today and put goods that are priced with a lesser exchange rate.
Okay.
And that is where we will feel the relief. That is where the inflation will drop further and all, because this inflation we had seen, which went way up to about 54%.
Okay.
It's an inflation figure that is basically sponsored by imports.
Oh, okay. The inflation.
Yes.
It's sponsored by imports. Explain.
Well, the inflation we witnessed was of the fact that we poorly managed the economy, we poorly managed money, that resulted in everybody going after dollars or foreign currencies, which meant that our Cedi was dumped, got deteriorated in terms of strength against the currency, and we had to pay more for the same goods and services that are imported. And therefore, we had price issues with whatever was sitting on our shelves and how we are able to take on production, because most of our raw materials and semi-finished raw materials were import based, and therefore it was this mismanagement that weakened the Cedi, that in turn actually make prices went up so much. When a chunk of your food and all that is not coming from your farms, but it's coming through the ports, then you would have this issue consistently. Unless you are able to manage money well, which is being done today.
Oh, okay.
But I'm saying you cannot say that 3 months, it's enough
to do an assessment.
3 months cannot be a cure to what we actually suffered in the past. We had to stay consistent into the future.
Okay. So, so my understanding of what you just said is that you're saying a big part of what we are seeing from the Cedi is prudence.
Yeah.
Learning to put in expenditure controls, not overspend.
Yeah.
But you're also saying that at the same time is because there are some expenditure that we necessarily have to make that we haven't started making yet.
Yeah.
So this is temporary.
This is temporary. If we are able to create the buffers now, when these expenditures are not due,
Okay.
or the public is not actually demanding for it. Because if you're a government, you will cave in.
Okay.
If the public comes after you and say, we are suffering, we need this road fix, we are suffering, we need pipe-borne waters here, boreholes here, and all that, you have no choice. I mean, elections will come. And you need to fix few roads. We all know the pressures that comes with it, right? And I'm saying that, look, if we are able to create the buffers today for tomorrow, if we stay prudent and consistent, then what will happen is that when that time comes, we would have created enough buffers to take on the shocks.
Oh, okay.
If not, we will go back to the same pit.
We'll go back to the cedi depreciating
Yes.
valley,
Yes.
to inflation rising,
Yes.
and we being forced to continue to just raise policy rates to
Absolutely.
deal with it.
Absolutely.
Okay. So continue. So your advice
And
is
that's why I'm
continue
saying
building
that
the
it
buffers.
was not this, what you are saying, it's not based on a diversification of our foundation.
Okay.
The foundation of the economy is still the same. The revenue outlet, the revenue lines we have are still the same.
So our sources of revenue haven't changed.
It
They're
hasn't
coming from the
changed
same
that much.
places.
Yes.
Okay.
Tax revenues cannot go up so much than we expect.
Okay.
And therefore, this is just about managing money well and expenditure.
But there's a suggestion from, because the gold borders coming, there's a suggestion that there's the gold matter. And I recall famously, we had a conversation here. One of the advice you gave to the then government was to keep reserves, to start building up gold reserves and buffers at the BOG.
Yeah.
They actually did that subsequently. They are saying that it's because of that.
Well,
And that Dr. Bawumia'S should be applauded because he led that charge.
Well, I mean, okay, so gold reserve was built up to about some 31 billion before they exited. Was that the result of the cedi deteriorating? Then, because they built it up.
Okay.
So what is different from then and now?
So they had the gold reserve, but the cedi was still depreciating.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You see, let us forget about some of the things we say, politicians say. I mean, they are politicians. And I think I heard one gentleman in Parliament saying that also.
Yes.
One of the parliamentarians saying that, we can forgive his ignorance.
He was talking ignorantly.
Yeah, he was talking ignorantly.
But
look, the behavior of we Ghanaians in a day can push up the dollar rate.
How we behave.
So, yes, because it is more about behavioral tendencies. If today there is some form of an alarm or whatever that, hey, it's going to get scary in few weeks if you don't get a dollar now, blah, 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 blah. And it gets to people's head and they believe them. And everybody start going after the dollar. The gold will still be there and the dollar
will still
go up.
I see.
So sometimes, that's why I'm saying we can forgive some of them when they make pronouncement. Probably they want to win some political capital out of that and all that. But it is ignorance, pure ignorance, and we shouldn't concentrate on those voices.
So the gold reserves are helpful as long as we also behave well.
Yes.
Okay.
You see, what it is that if you are buying the gold with the Ghana cedis, right? And the same gold is priced, sitting in your vault, is priced in USD when it comes to trade. In fact, this gold can be exchanged.
Okay.
You can use this gold, in fact, as security to borrow,
Okay.
which the Bank of Ghana did in the past, which they probably will be referring to that as gold for oil and all that. Check their 2022 accounts, Bank of Ghana, the annual account.
Okay.
Clearly, they were putting up our gold for US dollars to buy oil, and they were paying interest. So there was nothing like a barter.
Who are they paying interest to?
They were paying to the organization they were getting the money from, the USD for, to buy the oil.
Oh, okay. That's quite interesting.
Right? So, yes, at a point, your gold is valued as money. But whoever is valuing your gold for money must be able to also accept that I will take the gold, the physical gold, as payment. If not, it is just a matter of security, which you still have to bear additional costs in terms of paying interest, which sometimes ranges between 2 to about 5%. And these arrangements are sometimes just for a month. These arrangements are most of the time just for 30 days that you put your gold up for so much money in terms of Cedi. And therefore, it is assumed that you have the dollars sitting with you when you have gold, or you have foreign currency sitting with you when you have gold.
Okay.
And once we have enough gold reserve, then we can take on certain shocks when they come in.
Okay.
Those shocks have not come in. What is driving the rates down is that there is lack of demand. The Ministry of Finance is not spending.
Okay.
And therefore, we don't have much money in our hands to go after dollars
I see.
or foreign currency. So this has actually dried up demand on foreign currency. Our importations are dropping. The values are coming down, which is a good signal. Now, can we take advantage and substitute these imports within this period? And all this is on the physical side.
Okay.
Right. Not to take your mind off it. Now, when you are doing this and benefiting so much from this, and you want to increase production on the Greek side, and therefore you go buying more fertilizers, that is goods and services in USD. That means you have to
You
pay
just
people
increase your cost.
and increase your demand again and all that. Then people will import more and all that. I'm saying that it is appropriate that the balance we are keeping, we keep the balance going forward into the future.
Okay.
And we just don't stop at a point.
So you're saying in the case of going into the farming season, if I want to support farmers, government can take advantage of this and encourage maybe local producers of fertilizer.
Exactly.
Buy from them.
Exactly.
That will not create any significant problems for the economy. But immediately you start importing those fertilizers, then there's a problem.
There is a problem.
See, quite interesting. Where does the Trump fighting everybody come in? Because Trump seems to have placed a tariff on everybody. People say that has disincentivized people from dealing with the U.S. economy in a way. So the U.S. dollar is weaker as a result of that.
Well, that is also not true.
It's not true.
Yeah, that's also not true.
So the Trump angle too is not.
Oh, it's not true. The issue is that, ask our ladies who go to China, what is demanded of them in terms of currency is the USD.
The US dollars is still demanded in China.
Yes, not the yuan, not the Ghanaian cedi. It has become a world trade currency,
Okay.
and therefore it is almost inelastic.
Okay.
The demand is inelastic. It's like you can't say it has a breaking point.
Okay. The demand for the dollar.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, a lot of us have invested in the U.S. economy.
Mm-hmm.
People who don't live in the U.S., people who don't work there, who don't generate anything, have put their money in stocks.
Okay.
Right, in the U.S., in the U.S. stock market, put their money in some companies in the U.S. And they are looking for capital gain and dividend or what have you. So, the U.S. economy is actually funded by all of us, the rest of the world. Over 50 trillion of the money that support the U.S. is coming from the rest of the world and not the U.S. So when people say, oh, this Trump thing is what is, have people started moving out their monies from the U.S., which will erode a quarter of the U.S. economy, if that should happen. That is what will really affect the U.S. dollar.
I see.
So again, I don't see, I mean, what are the numbers? What are the figures? I mean, there are negotiations going on with many countries with this issue with Trump and all, what have you. So I don't think people have dumped the US dollars. No. The reason why we are kind of enjoying what we are seeing, no, it's not at all. It's the dollar is still in high demand.
I see. Well, if you just join us, YARBOI ANNAN is a financial analyst, a member of the NDC, particularly this morning. We are talking about the Cedi and versus the dollar. I think that's been the major issue for about a week or two now, because you're seeing the Cedi gaining some strength against the dollar. He's explaining exactly what is leading to that. But in the meantime, let me remind you of that 20% discount from Furniture City. Everything you need, furniture. You need furniture for your office, sofa. You need bedroom furniture. You need cabinets. You need furniture for